I had never been the type to sneak around. But that night, curiosity became stronger than my common sense. It was late, past midnight, and the rain was hitting my apartment windows in steady, soft taps. My roommate, Arhan, was supposed to be asleep hours ago. We weren't exactly close friends when he first moved in, but over the past 3 months, something had shifted. He had this calm, unshakable presence. The kind of man who didn't need to speak much, yet made you feel like he saw you, really saw you. And maybe that's why I noticed the light under his door. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe he was just reading. But my heart was beating faster with each step I took down the hallway. Something about that glow, it felt like an invitation. I didn't knock. I didn't even call his name. I just opened the door. And there he was, Arhan, standing in the middle of the room with his shirt half unbuttoned, his sleeves rolled up, and a small velvet box in his hand. He looked up at me, surprise flashing in his eyes, and then he smiled. It wasn't just any smile. It was the kind that melted your knees and made the air feel warmer. Slow. Certain. Almost like he had been waiting for this exact moment. Couldn't sleep? He asked, his voice low and deep. I swallowed, suddenly aware that I was standing in his doorway, wearing nothing but an oversized sweater and shorts. I saw the light. I managed to say, "What's that?" My eyes flicked to the box in his hand. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he placed the box on the table and took a slow step toward me. "Come in," he said softly. Something in me hesitated. Something else, louder, said yes. Arhan wasn't supposed to be part of my life. He was a friend of a friend who needed a temporary place to stay. I agreed without thinking much of it. But living with him, that was where everything got complicated. I noticed the little things first, how he made coffee exactly the way I liked without me ever telling him. How he remembered my bad days without needing a reminder. How he listened, really listened, when I spoke. We never flirted, not outright. But there were moments, like when our hands brushed in the kitchen and neither of us moved away. Or when I caught him watching me across the couch, his gaze lingering just a little too long. But we never crossed the line. Until now. I stepped into his room, the sound of rain following me like a secret. Arhan closed the door gently behind me. The air was warmer here. Or maybe it was him. "What's in the box?" I asked again, trying to keep my voice steady. He smiled again, slower this time. "You're always so curious. And you're always so mysterious," I countered. He reached for the box and handed it to me. "Open it." Inside was a silver chain. Simple. Elegant. A small pendant shaped like a half-moon hung at the center. I looked up at him, confused. "It's for you," he said quietly. My breath caught. "Why?" His eyes held mine unflinching. "Because you walked into my life when I wasn't looking for anyone. And you stayed." I didn't know what to say. My chest felt tight, and yet there was warmth flooding every part of me. "Arhan." He took a step closer, and I didn't move back. "You're different from everyone else," he continued. "I don't just notice you, I feel you. Every day. Every second. Even when you're not here." My pulse was racing. "Why didn't you ever say anything?" "Because I didn't know if you felt the same." His voice was soft but sure. "And if you didn't, I'd lose the only thing that feels real to me." For a moment, we just stood there, the sound of rain filling the silence. My hands were trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of everything unsaid. "Arhan," I whispered. "I've felt it too." Something shifted in his expression. His smile deepened, not the casual, charming kind, but one of pure relief. He reached up and brushed a strand of hair from my face, his fingers lingering against my cheek. The touch was so gentle it made my eyes close for a second. "You have no idea how long I've wanted to do that," he murmured. When I opened my eyes, he was closer. His scent, warm, clean, and faintly like cedar, wrapped around me. "Then do it," I said. He didn't hesitate. His lips found mine in a slow, deep kiss that sent shivers through me. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't desperate. It was deliberate, like he wanted to memorize the way I tasted, the way I breathed against him. His hand settled at my waist, pulling me just close enough to feel the steady rhythm of his heart. Mine was anything but steady. We didn't stop kissing for a long time. When we finally pulled away, my hands were still resting against his chest, and his forehead was pressed to mine. "This isn't how I planned to tell you," he admitted. I smiled, still breathless. How did you plan to tell me?" "I was going to wait until your birthday," he said with a soft laugh. "Give you the necklace, take you out somewhere nice, then maybe, if I was lucky, you'd let me kiss you." I laughed too, because there was something beautiful about how carefully he had thought about it. "Looks like you didn't have to wait," I teased. But then, something changed. Arhan glanced at the table, where a second box was sitting. I hadn't noticed it before. "What's that?" I asked. He hesitated. "Something I wasn't ready for you to see tonight." "Why?" His jaw tightened slightly, but he didn't look away. "Because it's not just about us. It's about something I've been keeping from you." My heart skipped. "Keeping from me?" He opened the second box. Inside was a key, a house key, and a folded piece of paper. "It's a lease," he explained, "for a place I bought. Not just for me. For us." I froze. "Us." "I didn't want to scare you away," he said. "But I've known for weeks that I don't want this to be temporary. I want you in my life. Permanently." The rain was still falling outside, but inside, it felt like time had stopped. I reached for the key, my fingers brushing his. "You didn't scare me," I said softly. "You just made it impossible for me to imagine not being with you." His eyes softened in a way I'd never seen before. He pulled me into his arms, holding me like I was the only thing that mattered. And maybe I was. That night, we stayed in his room until the rain stopped. Talking, laughing, kissing. Somewhere between the whispers and the warmth, I realized that walking in on him wasn't an accident. It was the moment everything in my life finally made sense. And every time I wear that necklace, I remember the way he smiled at me, as if he had known all along.